Hello, my name is Christopher Barnow. I'm the manager of the Great Basin Plant Material Center. Today we're at the Garms farm here in Smith Valley. The purpose of our visit here is to show the end of our 60-day trial. It's a 40 variety cover crop trial. It's actually 35 varieties, 5 mixes planted in a randomized block design replicated 4 times. The objective here is to see what can grow in a 60-day trial starting in the middle of summer. I talked with Gunnar Garms here at Garms Farm, and they were curious about what can grow between the end of the spring wheat, which ends around July, and the start of their winter wheat, which they plant in October. And so we constrained ourselves to 60 days. We planted the varieties, and today's day 60. Let's go ahead and see what we have here. First thing I'll go ahead and point out is that we have a variety of sunflower. And if you look real close, you have to look real close, you're seeing that the sunflower didn't do too well. You see stems, leaves all chewed up. Basically we have extreme rabbit pressure here. And so we planted 2 varieties of sunflowers. All plots have been chewed to the ground. So we can say for sure that they're quite palatable. Here we have some cereal rye. You can see the cover is in the 80 percentile range. We're pleased with it, even though cereal rye likes to be planted a little earlier in the season. There's not a lot of biomass here, so we probably wouldn't recommend it for this particular area. One thing that did quite well, as you look around, is we have several patches or plots of cowpeas. Each plot is 6 foot by 10 foot, planted by our no-till cone seeder. And we have 4 of them per replication. You'll see one here, one over there. And looking at it, the leaves are still healthy. It doesn't look like the rabbits chewed on it at all. Seems that this is a useful plant. Now it could probably do better with another 30 days. They'll put on flowers and peas because it is a cowpea. It's one of the most drought tolerant crops that we have. But at a 60-day trial, it's looking like it's doing all right. We also have Austrian Winter Pea. That's what this is right here. Austrian Winter Peas didn't come in as thick as we'd want, not as tall as we'd like. It's okay, probably wouldn't recommend it. Over here, it's one of the neat examples of variety differences. So we have 2 varieties of daikon radishes. The daikon radishes, the purpose of it is so it has a really thick taproot, which would help till the soil. The Garms were really curious of what kind of cover crop could help till the soils if they want to transition into a no-till system. These 2 varieties, one of them, you can see it's quite leafy with a lot of flowers coming in. It was chewed a little bit by the rabbits, but overall you have a decent cover, you'd have a decent height. In the 60-day growing season, it's doing okay. Contrast that to this variety here, and you can see that most of them are desiccated out. The survivors are small, and not much cover at all. And even though these are the exact same species, having 2 different varieties shows that the varieties can make a difference. And it's not something that should be ignored when you're looking for your cover crops.
And Chris, let's finally take a look back where you have all those mixes back there and tell us what you have back there.
Oh, okay. Now, one of the things when people talk about cover crops is there's a lot of talk about mixes. Most of what we have here are single varieties, just to show the difference between what they can do and how well they survive in the area. The reason mixes are considered, though, is because mixes do several different things. You have a lot of different strategies with each cover crop and what they can do as a cover crop. For example, you have these Sudan grasses here. They produce a lot of biomass. You see this is 60 days. They're already about 5 feet tall. There is a lot of biomass here. So if you're looking at increasing organic matter, this is where you get one of the plants that you can go to. Another option is if you look down here, you can see we have this leafy, large leafy plant. This is a kale, and its purpose is similar to the daikon radish in that it's supposed to have a really big taproot and help with organic tilling. You have this smaller plant with the white flower. This is a buckwheat. You might be familiar with buckwheats as part of soba noodles, which are made from buckwheat. Anyway, this one, it's one of the fastest growing plants. They're not very heat tolerant, so I didn't expect them to do too much here in Nevada, and it looks like they didn't. But one of the interesting things is that they kind of bind to potassium in a certain way that makes it so it's more available to various crops. So it's a good tool to have with your cover crop system. Here's the cowpea again, similar to what I showed you earlier. This one, it's a nitrogen fixer, so the main purpose of it is to fix nitrogen and to add that to the soil. And so if you have a mix of a variety of crops, you can have the nitrogen fixers, you can have the organic matter and the increase in biomass. You can have the organic tilling systems. You put them all together and you kind of have a pretty all-encompassing strategy to really help with soil health.